Your name, your address, and your phone number are floating around the internet. Easy for strangers, scammers, and companies you've never heard of to find. Data brokers and shady databases collect and sell your private details to anyone willing to pay, putting you at risk of nonstop spam, scams, and fraud. You can't stop them from collecting data, but you can control who gets to keep it. That's why I use Incogni. They remove your private information from more than 420 of these sites automatically. And with their unlimited plan, you get total coverage. If you spot your personal details anywhere else online, just send them the link and their privacy experts will get it taken down. It's the easiest, most complete way to protect yourself and personal life. Right now, you can lock in 60% off with my exclusive deal at privacykim.com. Go to privacykim.com right now and start protecting your privacy. This is so important. Privacykim.com. That's privacykim.com.
Welcome to the Kim Komando Show podcast for the weekend of February 4th, 2023. Here now, it's hour one.
Alrighty, I always like to start with something interesting, and this sounds far-fetched, but if you're using an Apple AirTag on your dog, I want you to listen up because I want you to double check and make sure that the AirTag holder on his collar is super snug and that the AirTag can't fall off, because here's why. A guy by the name of Colin Mortimer in Washington, D.C., he lost track of his dog's AirTag. It just fell off the dog's collar somewhere. So he looked all over the house. He looked in the dog's bed, the pile of dog toys, all over his house. But he could still hear the faint beating of an AirTag. And he's like, where's that beeping coming from? Well, lo and behold, as he got closer and closer to the dog, guess what? Oh, yikes. That's right. The dog swallowed the AirTag, and it was in the dog's stomach. Now, luckily, the dog eventually threw it up, and guess what? It still works. Now, I'm telling you, the AirTag battery could do a real number on a pet's inside. So I want you to be super sure that the AirTag holder is really snug on your pet's collar, because after all, you want to be really extra safe with your fur babies. Like, for example, I had to take Abby to the vet this morning because she ate a bag of Scrabble tiles. No word yet. Get it? Scrabble tiles. No word yet. I know. Hey, listen, you're about to get more tech smarts because every single thing is now a tech thing. And if you're a new listener, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. And if you're a regular listener, hey, welcome back. After all, I'm Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess, and you've tapped into our award-winning show about all things digital. You can find us on over 425 top stations from coast to coast, and we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando. And you can find us streaming as a podcast, as a webcast, 24/7, commercial-free, over at getkim.com. And a special thank you goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in 175 countries and 200 ships at sea. Love that. And I'm sure you have at least a few questions about something digital I can lend a hand to. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And just a quick reminder, if you're just too shy to come on a big-time radio show and podcast, you can email me questions to me over at komando.com. Just head over to komando.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. All right. Every single day, I visit at least 30 different websites to make sure that I'm up to date on all things digital and I can pass these things on to you so you're also up to date. And this is part of the show where I like to talk about some tech news that's happening. And it seems like everywhere you go online, everybody's talking about what? Yes, ChatGPT. And it may be just a matter of time before Microsoft Bing, yeah, I said it, becomes your homepage. No kidding. ChatGPT has set a record for the fastest growing user base in history. Okay. It scooped up 100 million active monthly users. Wow. And it's only been around for, say, about 2 months. Now, compare that to TikTok, which took 9 months to reach the same number. Instagram, 2 years. Now, here's another shocker. Microsoft is working to put a faster version of ChatGPT right into Bing so that this way people are like, Google, that's so old school. We're going over to Bing. I know. Never thought those words would come out of anybody's mouth. So aside from handing itself to Bing for billions of dollars, ChatGPT is now planning a subscription-based service. It's going to be called ChatGPT Plus, and it's $20 a month, and everyone is going to pay for it. I mean, everyone. It's like, okay, I'll give you the $20. I love ChatGPT. And which brings us to number two. What's more intelligent than ChatGPT? How about a Cat GPT? But first, a little bit more about that ChatGPT Plus. What are you going to get? It's going to give you all the features, but it's going to work a little better. It's going to a little faster. You're going to see the features, the new features faster, and maybe the website won't crash as much. And so with all this AI chatbot talk, Google is totally on red alert. I don't know if you heard, but Sergey Brin and Larry Page, they called him back out of retirement like going, we don't know what's going to happen to our company. So word out this past week that Google has something called Apprentice Bard, where you can ask questions and get detailed answers, a lot like ChatGPT. But right now it's only being rolled out to Google employees. Well, ChatGPT may have gotten 100 million monthly users, but let's not forget about the biggest internet sensation. What is it? Yes, it seems like everybody on the internet, we just love cats. That's right, because they have this superior knowledge and wisdom, and they look at you like, you're just a human, and I'm a cat. Well, a Dutch data journalist realized this, and he created the Cat GPT. You can ask it any question, it replies, meow. That's all it says. So smart. That's all it says. Meow. And if the site ever crashes, it's going to be a catastrophe. Oh. Whew, tough crowd. Okay, number three, why you don't want to ever meet a twin stranger online. This is a sad story, but I just want to pass it along. Saranban K, she searched high and low on social media for a lookalike. And then she found someone, a 23-year-old beauty blogger by the name of Khadijah in a neighboring city. So she arranged to meet her in August. Well, later that month, a body was found with more than 50 stab wounds in the back of a Mercedes. Now, the parents confirmed that it was Shahraban to the police. The body was found in her car and she had gone missing. But here's the twist. Following an autopsy, the police identified the body of Khadijah, which happened. Shahraban allegedly searched for a lookalike online to murder in order to fake her own death. So police say on the day of the crime, Saranban with a friend picked up the twin that she met online, and then she murdered him, or actually the pair murdered them, and now they're facing life sentences. So why exactly did she do this? Police say she just wanted to go in hiding because she said there was a whole bunch of drama-rama going on in the family. They were dysfunctional, so she murdered a twin lookalike that she found online. Ugh, isn't that horrible? Number four, popular kids game goes woke. What's going on with that? Okay, the first Sims game was released 23 years ago. A harmless and fun game for kids, right? 12 and older. Fun and harmless, that is, until now, because welcome to woke Sims. That's right. Here's what parents need to know. Maxis is the maker of Sims 4, of course, and they call it the ultimate life simulation game. But parents need to know that the latest version of the game introduces non-binary players, they, them pronouns, and Sims with top scars. I don't know if you know what top scars are, but it's the result of breast removal surgery. Now, of course, 12-year-old girls don't have any medical need for breast removal, so clearly the game is promoting transgender surgeries. Now, I know that transgender is a hot button issue, and you may think like, why is Kim Komando talking about transgender issues? Well, I'm not. I just want parents to be fully aware, fully cognizant of what the kids are going to be exposed to if they are allowed to play Sims 4. So now you know. But you know what the best part of Sims is? You know what the best part is? That if you get bored, you can just start over with a brand new family, just like my uncle did recently, which is a whole nother story. Yes. Number five, does a knife emoji mean murder? So let's talk about emojis for a second. Would you understand how to interpret a smiley face emoji inside of a court case? Well, law professor Eric Goldman tracked mentions of emojis and emoticons in court cases recently. And in the last few years, guess what? This just shot up big time. Now, here's the problem. Emojis mean different things to different people. The cowboy emoji could mean a sense of achievement. To me, it's like, hey, get up and go. We're headed off to Montana. Well, could a jury accurately decipher what an emoji means? Well, take, for example, this case in Ohio. A man sent an unwanted text message. Some included rodent emojis. Well, he was convicted of telecommunications harassment. So what does a rodent emoji mean? Okay, you're a rat. But what if that was misinterpret it. I mean, who knows, right? So millennials see the plain smiley emoji at its face value. Gen Zers say it's sarcastic. And if you ever use the thumbs up emoji, that means that you're just an old person. That's right. So you want to stop using that. Use the checkbox or the salute if you want to be hip. Hey, let me ask you this question. What is a cow emoji called? This is something you can use with the kids. What's a cow emoji called? You ready? An emoji. Yeah, okay. All right, coming up in our privacy tip, we have the high-tech way to protect your logins. That's much better than two-factor authentication. We have some work-at-home jobs to tell you about, how to handle a data breach, and of course, we have all of your phone calls from coast to coast here on the Kim Komando Show. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And coming up in just a few minutes, let's talk about encryption and what it really means. And before we get to all of that, how about we start with Phyllis in Orlando Beach, Florida. Hi, Phyllis.
Thank you so much for speaking with me. I'm just been so upset over what was going on with my brother, so I'm hoping you can give me some great direction, which I know you can. His computer was hacked in a sense. This is through PayPal. My sister-in-law got a link. She opened it because they do use it. Whatever the scam is, I'm not sure of all of the details. Somehow or other, they said they owed money. The guy convinced my brother to let him have access to his computer. He showed him his ID, his employee card, and P.S., the bottom line is he stole $450,000. He linked my brother's bank account to his investment account and cleaned out an IRA account and sold a trading account, right. And
wow.
my brother
did you say, wait, Phyllis, did you say $450,000?
Got it. That's right. And Fidelity, the Fidelity my brother has been with them for 15 years. He's a banker. He was a banker. He's retired now. And it's not like he's not computer savvy. He has his computer built. Sure. He's techie smart, but when it comes to this, not so great. And I think Fidelity's responsible. That's a whole other issue, though. How it was allowed, and they accused my brother of being the fraudster. The guy, it's unreal because it came from his computer. And
sure.
So my question is, I told him, don't send me any. We don't do a lot of emails back and forth. He's not into texting a lot of emails. It's mostly phone calls. Don't send me anything because I don't know what this guy put in your computer. And what can I tell my brother to do? I mean, I told him to take a hammer to it. But
well, that's about what he needs to do. As far as the computer is concerned, I mean, he can do a whole factory reset and basically wipe the drive and start over from scratch. But in addition to that, he's got a lot of other work to do. He should change every single one of his passwords, to any account, because they may have access to the passwords that are saved in the browser. If they have access to the whole system, they probably have all that. He needs to enable two-factor authentication on any account. Obviously, have some good antivirus software. Watch any, you're really smart to make sure that you watch any emails or links that are coming out of there. But this is a big problem. And it's not just with your brother. It's that the cybercrime is just horrendous. It's just horrendous.
And the PayPal is the worst because it's like 3 people I have spoken to have had some kind of problem and spam with PayPal. It's not PayPal.
It's not. It's people. Right. It's people pretending to be PayPal.
Exactly.
You can obviously he should contact the local police if he hasn't done that already.
He has. He went to the district attorney.
Good. Okay. Good. And then there's
get a file.
And there's also where something called the Internet Crime Complaint Center. It's the web address is ic3.gov. And he can file a complaint with that's really the FBI. I was talking to the head of this whole Internet Crime Complaint Center, and I said, do you really look at? I mean, be honest, just between you and me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you really look at everything that people send in here because you must be just inundated? And he said, absolutely. We look at every single case that comes in with fraud and trying to put the pieces together because if they did this to your brother, they've probably done it before and they're going to do it again to somebody else, right?
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
so the big mistake is that, he allowed them onto his system.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
That was
and he realized,
yes, and
too
he
late.
he probably feels like a complete fool and a complete idiot.
Yeah, they're devastated. I mean, he does. He can't believe he did that, and it's just the guy. This is what makes me crazy. He said he can tell when the guy's in there. He said he disconnects his Wi-Fi, so when he's not using his computer, if it's off, nobody can get in. I said, but he changed all his banks and he changed a lot of that. I don't know what he's done with his passwords.
Well, here's the other thing too. What I would do. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you said that. I would get a new router. I'd get a whole new router, and because who knows what they may have been able to get into the router and enable something called remote access. And so no matter if he gets a new computer, they're still going to be able to get in through the router.
Oh, wow.
So not only are we going to do a complete factory reset on the computer, maybe even buy a new computer.
Well,
I would also, and I would also encourage him to buy a new router, a new modem. Let's just start everything from scratch, everything new, any phone, anything that's been connected, any smart light bulb, anything that has been connected to that network. We need to disconnect it, change the passwords, and then get it back up there. Wow, what a nightmare. We're going to write a tip about this, Phyllis. We are. We're going to write a tip about this at Komando.com to walk you through all the steps. You've been scammed. You've been hacked. Now what? And we'll see if we can put that together within the next week or so and send you out a copy directly so you can print it out and mail it to your brother or go over and give it to him with a six-pack and say, all right, this is a lot of work, but I think you can do it. Phyllis, if I can help any other way, just let me know. And thanks for your call. Now, another important thing to do if this ever happens is to totally freeze your credit with the three major credit bureaus. I'm talking about Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. This way, it can prevent anyone from opening new accounts or lines of credit in your brother's name. All right, let's talk about Encryption 101. I'm sure you've heard it thrown around. It's a way of scrambling a text message so that no one can see what it says until the message actually reaches the recipient. So say you text somebody what time you're leaving. The moment you hit send, that message is turned into a bunch of numbers and letters. And then it stays like that as it passes through the carriers and the servers. And when the person on the other side gets it, it automatically is unscrambled so that this way they can read it. Now, if you're using an iPhone, the text bubble is blue, the message is encrypted. If it's green, that means it's not encrypted. Now, on Google Messages, the lock icon means that the text is encrypted. So remember, blue is encrypted on your iPhone, and then the lock icon on Google Messages means it's encrypted. Hey, our privacy tip is coming up. You don't want to miss. We have more of your phone calls here on The Kim Komando Show. All right, coming up in just a few moments, the high-tech way to protect your logins that's better than two-factor authentication. Later on, what to do if your name is part of a data breach. And before we go back to all of your phone calls, let's talk about 3 work-at-home jobs that pay at least $20 an hour. Let's start with being a bookkeeper. So this way you keep track of financial documents, prepare cash flow statements, and handle bank reconciliations. Now, these are all jobs that you can do remotely. You can telecommute. Number 2, if you have experience in marketing or PR, you can snag a job as what's called a marketing coordinator. You do all kinds of fun things. And finally, if you're comfortable with a computer and you can type fairly quickly, look into these data entry positions. They like to see skills from folks who work as an administrative assistant or receptionist. So if you found that you're laid off, well, before you start pounding the pavement, so to speak, see if there are any jobs available online. What you want to do is head over to LinkedIn.com and Indeed. And from there, you want to search for remote jobs. And if you want any links to any legitimate opportunities, make sure that you hit Komando.com. And in the search box, just type in work from home. All right, Amanda from St. Petersburg, Florida, you're up next.
So I am a small business owner. I started with a network marketing company about 5 years ago, and my team is just shy of the $15 million mark. So I have tapped into something and worked with it and made some big things happen.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Just lots of learning and lots of hard work. What I am looking for and shopping for is a way to reach my customer base through email. So something where I could import all of my contacts and customers via Excel or a file and have an email go out. I'm probably looking at between 1,000 and 1,500 to go at a time. And I've done some preliminary research, and there's 10, 15 different companies that do it. So I wanted to ask an expert.
Well, thank you. Email marketing is phenomenal. It really is. And what's great is that when you start using some of these services, that you can have statistics as far as your open rate, your click-through rate, and you're not sitting there trying to manage these email addresses either. If somebody cancels an account or gets a new account or they don't want it anymore, you're not sitting there on an Excel sheet saying, all right, Bob's mail bounced back, so I got to get a new one from Bob. And it really makes life a heck of a lot easier. And then also these services have templates. And so it's pretty much just drag and drop and fill in the blanks, put a picture in. And what is even better than that is that you know that whatever you're emailing out is going to be responsive and it's going to work and it's going to look great, whether they're on a phone, a tablet, a Kindle, or whatever it may be, right? So as far as the companies that I recommend is number one is MailChimp. What I like about it for you is that it's free for small businesses with up to 2,000 subscribers. And it has that whole drag and drop, and it's really intuitive for email campaigns. And if you are looking for something that may be a little bit more robust, if you try MailChimp and you're like, I don't really like the templates. I don't really like the way that it's working out for me. The one that I use for my sister is Constant Contact, and they have a 60-day free trial. So either MailChimp or Constant Contact, try those. And then if you need any additional help afterwards, Amanda, give us a call because we know a lot about email marketing. We do, because over at komando.com/subscribe, that's where you can sign up for our newsletters, which, by the way, we are just too big to use any of these smaller services because every single month we're sending out, I don't know, some months close to 20 million emails a month. That's crazy, I know. So if you're not already getting our emails, what are you waiting for? Join the masses. Knowledge is power. You can learn more and you can sign up over at komando.com/subscribe. And once again, Amanda, if you need any help with this ever, just give me a call back and I'll work through whatever details that you need. But let's just start at the beginning. Start at MailChimp.com. And again, if you don't like it, Constant Contact. And thank you for your call. Now, when you talk about sending marketing emails for your company, no matter the size of the business, there are some best days, some days that are better than others. These are traditionally Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and they have the highest open and click-through rates for some email marketing campaigns. Now, a lot of people always ask me, what's the best time of day to send your emails? I like to send them first thing in the morning, but research has showed that maybe late morning or early afternoon, between, say, 10 a.m. and noon or 2 and 4 p.m., that they tend to also have the highest open rates. And one thing that's really important is personalization. If you can ever put the person's name inside the subject, it's also going to have a higher open rate. All right, we all talk about 2FA, two-factor authentication. And it usually consists of two things. What? Your password and a device, and usually it's your smartphone. It's when you try to log into some place, maybe you're in a new browser, a new IP address, new location, and it says, hey, we need to really make sure you are who you are. And then they send you that 6-digit code and you have to type it in or it does autofill for you. So what about two-factor authentication? The reason why I bring this up is that Apple has joined the ranks of other companies, and now you can use a actual physical security key. Now, these are small devices that provide extra protection against unauthorized access to your accounts, and they work with your computer and phone via a physical or a wireless connection. So the whole idea is that if someone gets a hold of your passcode, that they wouldn't be able to access your account without this physical key. So it works like this. You enter your password, and then you use your physical key to log into your accounts. And like a PIN code that's being sent to your phone, this cannot be intercepted by somebody who may have access to your text messages. So these security keys, like I mentioned, are just now being rolled out for Apple users, but Google, Microsoft, Twitter, Facebook, they've all had these for years. So the question is, which are the best physical keys to have? Well, you want one that works on, say, USB-A NFC security keys. And there's a company called YubiKey, and we have links to these, so don't worry about it, so you can check them all out. And it's about $50. And there's also a Lightning security key made by the same company for folks who are on iOS devices. And if you've never heard of these keys, you're wondering what they are, make sure that you hit the tip on the website and then pick up one of these keys. They're about $50, and we've got direct links to all of these. Head over to komando.com, and at the top of the page it says Kim Show, and you'll find a link to everything that I just mentioned, talking about these physical security keys that are truly much better than two-factor authentication. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls, as well as some tips on what to do in case your name is out there and your email address and you're part of a data breach. And of course, you have more of me, Kim Komando. All right, here's the deal. I made some changes on our social media accounts this past week that I want to be sure that you know about. At facebook.com/Kim Komando, you can just go ahead and follow us. But at twitter.com/Kim Komando and instagram.com/Kim Komando, I have locked down the accounts. And so if you want access and you want to be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, what you want to do is just hit the button that says grant access, and then you'll go into a queue, and then I'll take a look at all your names, and then I'll prove you as I go through one by myself, and actually do this myself. Nobody else on the team does it. So that's twitter.com/Kim Komando. Again, the account's locked. Just make sure that you request to follow us. And the same thing at instagram.com/Kim Komando. All right, let's see who's up next. Lisa in Littleton, Colorado. Hello there, Lisa.
Hey, Kim. Thanks for having me on your show.
You betcha.
Yeah, I love it. I listen to you all the time.
Thank you.
So what's going on is I used to work at a veterinary clinic, and they have what's called Class 4 or cold wave laser therapy machines for pets for various things like for pain in the joints or muscles, arthritis. Anyway, like, for example, a dog would come in to the clinic limping, and we would perform a laser treatment on him, and he would walk out not limping. And so, you know, I thought to myself, you can't really psych a dog out, you know. So you can't tell them this is going to work and have them have it in their head like, okay, I'm going to be better. They just were. So as an employee, we were kind of able to use that on ourselves, and it was just an amazing thing for helping to heal inflammation or, you know, even surgical incisions. If the dog had a spay or neuter, they'd do a laser treatment to help that incision heal faster.
What's the downside of this? What's the downside of cold laser therapy?
To my knowledge, there isn't any. There are no side effects. The downside for the company I worked for, was the cost of it. It was like $25,000 for the machine.
Oh, for the machine.
Which is why, you know, veterinarians charge for that service, is to recoup the cost of the actual unit itself. So around Christmas, my husband found one that's for pets, but you can also use it on people, and it was a couple $100. And I'm thinking, okay, the technology improved so much that they can now offer this kind of a product for hundreds of dollars rather than thousands of dollars. And I didn't know enough about how to research that to find out if we buy one of these units at Walmart, is it a gimmick, or is it actually something that can be useful for people?
Yeah, that's a really tough call. It is a tough call. I mean, because you've been around this long enough that everybody has, is that, you know, the first cell phone was $8,000, and now you can pick one up for $50 if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
And technology does change, and then over time it does become more cost effective. Now, does it go from $25,000 to $250 over a period of time? I mean, yeah, it's a possibility, but I'm always cautious of anything that involves my body. Even though, like you said, like there's no side effects. I don't know enough about this to say whether or not there are side effects. I'm smart in a lot of things, but I'm not smart in cold laser therapies or low-level laser therapies. And so I would want to do some research and make sure that whatever medical device, and this may not even be classified as a medical device, that it's regulated by some reputable authority like the FDA. Just because, you know, your body is, the way I think about it, Lisa, is that my body's a machine. Okay. What I put into it and what I get out of it is how I take care of it. And of course, there are always the anomalies, like a DNA mutation that no matter what you do, you might be susceptible to, say, breast cancer or something like that. But I would just be really cautious of anything that's being sold that at such a lower price. Maybe it's less powerful, probably, or less versatile than maybe the class of laser therapy devices that are being used by vets. One of the things that you can always do, and just I want you to be really careful if you do this, is that you can put the product name into Google and then just put the word review after it.
Okay.
And that's where you can start picking up, maybe somebody has done a blog about this. But if they are trying to sell the product at any given moment or sell a competitor's product, then that's just another scam. So I would try to find some type of review about this product that is a legitimate review. Because here's the deal. People get online and they write about everything, whatever might be in their sphere, what they're looking at, what they like, what they dislike. You can see if the product's is it available for sale on Amazon.com. And Amazon, you can obviously look at the reviews. And now they have verified purchases on Amazon, so you can see. But just about everything under the sun. Now, if it's for sale on Walmart, it's going to be for sale on Amazon. So, take a look at those reviews before you buy anything. And again, just be cautious about whatever happens to your body. I'm not an expert about cold laser therapy, but I'm always super cautious about anything that involves my health and my body. Arthritis, you might want to look at Voltaren. And my mom uses that and it really helped her out. You can buy it at Costco. A couple of other things that you can do. If you see a product and you're like, I'm just wondering if it's just too good to be true. The price seems incredible. And that's always a big red flag, is when you do that, always make sure that you put on a credit card. So if it's not exactly what you expected, that you can always get your money back. But what I also like to do is head over to YouTube, because after all, Google is the #1 search site in the world, right? YouTube is number 2. And look for any type of product demonstrations using this particular product. Now, when you watch these videos, it can give you a really great idea of whether or not this product is going to meet your expectations, whatever the product may be. Now, of course, always check the return policy. And if you see something that's being sold to you via Instagram or Facebook, it may be difficult to return it because it's being shipped directly from China, and that's how they sell it, that you're going to save money because they're skipping the middleman, which, by the way, I have to tell you, I have bought a few things on Instagram, and every single time it turned out to be a complete dud. But anyway, check the return policy, so this way, in case you're not satisfied with the results, you can always just go ahead and send it back. If you haven't already, make sure that you sign up for our security alerts. You can sign up over at komando.com/subscribe, because anytime there's a big-time data breach, or even a little breach, as a matter of fact, or maybe there's a product recall, you guys and gals are the first to know about it. So make sure you sign up for our breaking news alerts and security alerts over at komando.com/subscribe. Because I bet at least one of your online account credentials is for sale, at least on the dark web right now. So what should you do? Well, first, there's a website, we've talked about it here on the show, called haveibeenpwned.com, and they track data breaches. And there you can enter your email address to see if your account details are for sale on the dark web. Again, the site is haveibeenpwned.com. Now, if your account is on a breach list, your first step is to change your email account or on that account's password as well. And be sure it's not the same or a similar password that you're using anyplace else online. Then what you want to do is turn on that two-factor authentication, which you can also use a physical security key that we just talked about. Be sure that you change your security questions and answers too, because they probably have those. And finally, this is super important, log out of all your accounts. Yeah, it's a hassle, but all those malicious actors will be logged out too. Now, do me a favor. If you laughed, okay, maybe once. If you learned a few things, be sure that you tell at least 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show. You can find more information always at komando.com. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise. home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim.
It's the Kim Komando Show podcast exclusively for Komando community members. And we're up to hour 2 for the weekend of February 4th, 2023.
I always like to start with something interesting. And if you have any photos with someone in the photo that you wish they were not in the photo, you have to hear this. Okay, we have AI to help us out. There's a pretty popular video and editing app called PicsArt. And like other apps, even Apple can do it, you can select a person from a photo and remove them. But this app is a little bit different. You can replace that person, say it's an X, so when that person is removed, it looks like you're holding a red flag, or maybe a baguette, or maybe you're with a dog, or maybe you're with a snake. Yes, they actually added a snake. It's pretty clever. And I know what you're thinking. Even if I take them out of my photos, this will never erase all the memories that I have of my ex. I always think of my ex when I look at my Echo Show and I hear Alexa, because it listens to every single thing that I say. It snoops on me, and it comes across as a know-it-all. That's right. Hey, listen, I'm Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you. It's our award-winning show about all things digital, and you're about to get more tech smarts because every single thing in our life is now a tech thing. And if you're a regular listener, we're so glad that you're here. And if you're a new listener, wow, that's amazing. We're so glad that you found us. And you can find us on over 425 top stations across the United States. We're streaming in your favorite radio app. And you can find us as a podcast, as a webcast, commercial-free, all 3 hours over at getkim.com. And a special thank you goes out to all of our servicemen and women in the Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force, who are protecting our great nation as I speak. And they're listening to us on the American Forces Network Radio. Our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And just a quick reminder that you can always send me your questions on our website. Head over to komando.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. All right, every single day I visit at least 30 different websites to make sure that I'm up to date on all things digital, and you are too. And this is part of the show where I like to focus on the products, things that are going on the web, and things that you might want to check out. Like, for example, yes, it's that time for the big game. We're talking about the Super Bowl. And in more than 24 states, you can actually bet on the Super Bowl using your phone. And it's because of that, it's supposed to be a record-breaking year for betting online. The American Gaming Association says, listen to this, Americans are going to wager $8 billion on the Super Bowl this year. Wow, $8 billion. In case you're wondering, put that in perspective. Last year, it was $4.3 billion. So why? Well, because a lot more states have legalized mobile betting. So if you want to play first, you have to see if it's legal in your state, and you can then choose a reputable online sports betting app or website. DraftKings has been around for a while. FanDuel and BetMGM are the big ones. You put in your payment info, deposit funds, and then you can go ahead and select your odds and see all the different bets that are available for the Super Bowl. Now, here's a joke for you to use at the Super Bowl party. Okay, now I'm going to say the Cowboys, but you can replace it with your favorite team, or this the team that's going to get the most reaction from everybody at your Super Bowl party. Okay, are you ready? What do Cowboy fans do after they win the Super Bowl? What do Cowboys fans do after they win the Super Bowl? Anybody? They turn off their Xbox. Ooh, ouch. That's right. All right, number 2, this is crazy. Now you need to opt out of your art. What is going on with this? Okay, everybody in the world uses Adobe Photoshop. Well, not everybody. 90% of the world's creative professionals use Adobe Photoshop. And what happens now with Photoshop is that you get to put all your photos in the cloud and you can manipulate all your photos in the cloud. Of course, it's going to cost money to have access to the cloud, but now there's another cost. What's going on? What do I need to tell you about this? Well, Adobe has released an AI creator called Adobe Sensei. You input an idea into it, and then a photo of that idea plops out. It's like AI generated art. Well, Adobe sneakily claims on its content analysis FAQ page that it might analyze your content to develop and improve its products. Ooh, well, what does that really mean? It doesn't say exactly, but it does give some rise to concern that you don't want to share your private Photoshop pics with maybe something that may be generated with AI. So what I want you to do is to opt out. You want to log into your Adobe account, go to privacy and personal data, and then turn off content analysis. Again, your Adobe account, privacy and personal data, and then turn off content analysis. That's a little sneaky, guy. All right, number 3 is a little geeky on our list of 5 things, but I know that you guys and gals can handle it. We're going to start with MTBF. Anybody know what that is? Okay, if you know what that is, then you're going to totally dig this story. If you don't, let me tell you, it stands for mean time between failure. A new study from Data Blackbase, they took a look at time's impact on hard drive failure rates. Okay, not a shocker. How often do hard drives fail? And typically, they say it used to be 5 years, and guess what? Older hard drives are more likely to fail. Okay, yeah, duh, we all knew that. But this gets really interesting. The older and smaller the drive is, the higher the annual failure rate. So a 4 terabyte drive that's over 6 years old failed more often than a 16 terabyte that was a year old. Okay, so here's the deal. Is that you want to look at bigger drives because in the long term, they actually have lower failure rates than the smaller drives. And let's just stick with a geek joke to go along with all this, okay? The FBI, they're raiding an alleged spy's apartment. When they discover a hard drive, it's labeled KGB. Oh, gosh, and one of the agents, they holds it up with a look of confusion, and they say, why wouldn't they just write 1 TB? Like KGB Russian 1 terabyte. Ooh, tough crowd. Okay, let's move on. Number 4, why go to the movies when you can sit on your butt at home and watch the same thing? Is it the big screen? Yeah. Better audio? That's probably it. So Netflix knows this, and they also know that you're watching its shows and movies on possibly any device that you can imagine. Your laptop, your tablet, your Echo Show, whatever it may be, your phone. So this past year, it's starting to use a spatial audio system that didn't need to be connected to a TV. But now Netflix is making available for 700 of its titles. So you have to pay a premium version of the Netflix subscription, of course. But if you watch Stranger Things, you might have noticed the movie quality sound was a lot better. And it works like this. It's called spatial audio. And it's supposed to be this dynamic 3D experience that is just going to immerse you inside the movie. The sounds are directional. So you just are all immersed in whatever you're watching. And so it looks like Netflix is going to also start gaining subscribers after making the freeloaders who are sharing passwords pay up. That's right, you're off. Then again, I've seen Stranger Things. Number 5, look up in the sky. It's not a Chinese spy balloon. It's an actual UFO. What's going on? The U.S. government is now aware of over 500 new cases of UFO sightings by our troops since 2021. And now there's a new app to report UFO sightings. A company by the name of Enigma Labs just launched an app that lets you submit reports of unidentified objects in the sky. And they say that they want to take UFO reports more seriously. It wants to find definite patterns so people who've seen them feel a little bit less alone and maybe less crazy. So if you think that you have seen a UFO, you're going to fire up the app, and then it has AI. It's going to analyze the photos, videos, witnesses, rate reports, and it's by invite only right now with the app. But you can submit a UFO sighting to its website. It's enigmalabs.io. That's ENIGMA, enigmalabs.io, and then click Submit Sighting at the top right corner. And what did the UFO denier say when shown video proof of alien spaceships and was even told that one of those spaceships houses the leader of the universe? What did he say? He said, witchcraft. I'm trying here. Hey, coming up, we have how to make money from your car, your home, your RV, and all the other stuff that you own. going to talk also about how to find some spy cams, and we have our trivia that you don't want to miss. And of course, we have your phone calls, and you have me, Kim Komando. Hey, if you haven't already, make sure that you follow us on social media. We are always at Kim Komando, whether you're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, it's at Kim Komando. Okay, so there are all these different real estate websites, right? You have Zillow, you have Redfin, and a slew of others, including Realtor.com. So you go online because you know exactly what you're looking for, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and then bingo, in the perfect area, you find the home of your dreams. But is it a real listing? It may not be. Case in point, John Arnold found his own land listed on Zillow. But here's the problem. He did not put it up for sale, right? So what happened? A scammer stole his ID and nearly sold his property right underneath him for, get this, $200,000. And to tell the story himself, joining us here on the Kim Komando Show special caller line is John Arnold himself. Hello there, John.
Hi.
So it must have been a shocker when somebody was willing to buy your property, right?
That was the good news of it. Yeah, that's right. The property was hot. It was only up for about a day and a half, and they had several offers on it, including a $200,000 cash offer.
So tell me what happened. How did you even find out that it was listed for sale?
Right. I was very fortunate. I got a letter. It was attached to my doorknob one day, and it was from a realtor who said that he'd been approached by somebody claiming to be me and listing the property. And he said he thought things weren't right. So he just wanted to let me know that had happened. A couple of days later, I finally got around to working on it. And I called the police, and the policeman called the realtor. He found out what had happened, and he investigated. The person posing as me had given him a couple of a phone number and an email. They traced them back to addresses overseas, I think in Africa, something like that, and said that basically this gang had figured out a way to come up with a phony ID of mine. It actually was my driver's license that they had.
Wow, really?
Yes, they'd hacked into the North Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles records, gotten my ID, put a different picture on it, because it's a picture ID, and then we're using that as proof of ID. They searched the Register of Deeds records to find vacant land. They like vacant land because quite often it's not attended very well by the owner. The owners don't come by very often to see what's happening. Then they use the phony ID to approach a realtor and say they want to that they were me and that they want to sell the land. And if things go fast enough, they can grab the money and be back over in a foreign country long before people really realize what's going on. Then, there's the problem trying to prove who does own it and how to get some people at least get some compensated for their damages and things. So,
wait, so imagine if you didn't get that letter on your doorknob, right?
That's right. I would have been in probably for a legal battle trying to show that I still owned the land. I think I probably would be able to establish I'm still the owner. But it would have taken a while, and I probably had to make some court appearances and possibly have to hire an attorney and go with all the attorney costs and legal fees. So it's a hassle. Even if I can reestablish ownership, it's still a hassle. So.
Wait, talk about time, effort, energy wasted, and money wasted, all because somebody's trying to, scam you out of land. And that, that's a really interesting point about land, because I was just thinking when you were saying about that, it's normally unattended. It is. I mean, I own some land in Eloy, Arizona. Okay, I don't know if you know where Eloy is. Not too many people do, but my financial advisor said this is going to be profitable for my son's grandchildren, if that tells you anything where it is. So not too long ago is that I thought, I wonder how the property's doing. And so it's about an hour and a half south of Phoenix. And so we go out there and my husband looks at me and he says, "Are you happy now? Because you saw it." And it was literally tumbleweeds going across the desert. But you know what? But that's an interesting point. There is home title insurance, home title lock. They sell home title insurance, and where they say that they're going to notify you if somebody tries to change the deed, because home title, it is a growing crime. And I don't know whether or not it's up to you to get the insurance, but it is out there if it is concerning, and I think it's like $10 a month or something like that, because otherwise I don't even know how you'd be notified, right? Maybe get something in the mail?
Well, there'd be a couple ways. And again, these people, I assume it's a gang probably. They're adept with using the digital techniques to do these things, but the ways to fight back, we can put notifications up on things like Zillow saying that you're interested in that land. So if someone else is looking at it, well, then Zillow sends you a notice saying, hey, somebody else is looking at this thing. So you get notice of activity anyway.
Oh,
there's also a notice you can put on by the Register of Deeds. Somebody's checking this deed out and looking again at that land so that they can notify you. And anyway, those are those things. The other thing I did was I sent an email to the neighborhood. There's a neighborhood email group. Sent a letter to them and saying, please let me know if you see any unusual activity over their land, like somebody surveying it or people walking around on it or something like that, so that we can, again, get notice that people are doing something around that land and catch it before it gets very far down the road. I know when I talked with the police at the various levels, they basically all just shook their head and said that nowadays it's very easy to forge ID documents and hack into some of these different databases and things, like for the Department of Motor Vehicles. And so realtors and landowners are going to have to be much more on their toes as to who they're dealing with.
exactly. 100%. And I think you own that realtor if you didn't already give him or her a nice bottle of wine for saving your butt and saving your land, right?
Yes, I gave him several good reviews on a number of different sites. So anyway.
Well, that's probably even better than a bottle of wine, right?
Yeah,
hey, John, thank you so much for joining us. And it's a word of warning for everybody out there. I mean, whether it's land, apartment buildings, your condo, whatever it is, you need to make sure that you follow some precautions. And that's an excellent recommendation, John, about saying that you're interested in this property on Zillow and Redfin. You can do the same thing, and then you get those notifications.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to do, something like that, to use the digital means to protect ourselves too.
Got it. Thank you, John. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm telling you, these scammers are getting more and more brazen. Now, if you're not living at a property you own, title insurance policies can protect you against fraudulent sales or ownership claims. And be sure also that your property is properly recorded at your local county recorder's office. All right, this is a great website you're going to really want to know about, because let's say you want to start playing a video game. You're wondering, how many hours is it going to take me to actually play this game? Like Stray is a popular game where you're a stray cat in a decaying city. It's going to take you about 9 hours. Let's see, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 on the Switch is going to take you 154 hours. Spider-Man, it's going to take you 4 hours to play the game on a PlayStation. Elden Ring is 131 hours. That's a long time. So here's the deal. To check how long it's going to take to beat these games, you can drop by the site howlongtobeat.com. Once again, that's howlongtobeat.com. All right, coming up, we have our trivia question of the week. It's a tough one, so make sure that you have your thinking cap on. And we have so many more of your phone calls. And of course, you have more of me with some great tips and tricks. Kim Komando. Hey, it's time now to do our trivia, what I like to call Commanding the Tech World Trivia Contest here on the Kim Komando Show. And this week is brought to us by Epson. So yes, Commanding the Tech World Trivia, because we've all seen how the world has changed because of technology. But do you actually know the backstory, those little fun facts, the hidden secrets that makes this digital world go round and round? Now, Commanding the Tech World Trivia, we always have a special guest contestant who is just, wow, they just are going to win a fabulous prize. I'm talking about an original prize. Yeah, I know you want it too. It's the Kim Komando Show Fanny Pack, valued at, I think, $29.99. And joining us this week is Tammy in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. Hello there, Tammy.
Hi, Kim.
What do you do there in Scottsdale?
I work in a spa.
Oh, great. Oh, So you're always calm and relaxed because you're always listening to that wonderful music, right?
Two different worlds. I work in a spa, and I love technical things, and I just want to be you.
Oh, well, thank you, Tammy. Thank you.
I'm addicted to your podcast and your videos, so.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate that. Well, in the trivia today, we're going to be talking about Windows. Do you use a Windows or a Mac?
So I have a Windows, but it's broke.
Okay. So we're going to be getting a Mac soon. All right.
I have an iPad.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Microsoft has launched several successful products, right? What do they have? Like Microsoft Windows, right? Microsoft Office Suite. Of course, there's the Xbox, super successful product. The Microsoft Surface, a lot of people are really loving the Surface. Visual Studio is maybe a product you're not familiar with because it's actually used by developers to build software for Windows and mobile platforms and the web. And then there's Microsoft Bing. Not quite Google, right? But a lot of people still use Bing. But Microsoft has also had its share of failures because not everything has panned out to be gold in those Seattle hills. So for this trivia question, Tammy, I'm going to give you a list of Microsoft failures. So it's up to you to tell me which one was not a failure, which one wasn't one of their products, okay?
Oh, boy.
So let's go with, we have, there's 4 different Microsoft products. And so it's up to you to pick the one that was not the failure that came out of Microsoft, okay? So the first one is the Microsoft Zune. That was a digital media player, and it was trying to compete against the iPod and iTunes, and it just didn't work. Okay. The next one is the Microsoft Kin. This was a smartphone that Microsoft said, hey, we're going to give it to kids. But the problem is that the Microsoft Kin phone was more expensive than any other phone on the market. And people are like, I don't think so. Microsoft also had the Microsoft Band, and that was a fitness tracker that had mixed reviews, and it was actually discontinued because nobody really wanted to buy a fitness band from Microsoft. And then finally, the Microsoft Lisa. It was put out in 1983, and it was the first PC to have what we called a graphical user interface. So, which of these failures for Microsoft was not really a Microsoft failure? Was it the Microsoft Zune, the Microsoft Kin, the Microsoft Band, or the Microsoft Lisa? Which one? Which one was it?
The Band.
Okay, so you're going to say that the Band was not a failure by Microsoft. And so that's your final answer, Tammy. So let's go ahead and ask our judges, is Tammy right or wrong?
That figures.
Sorry, Tammy. Sorry.
I've never even
Microsoft
heard
Lisa
of any of them.
Okay, well, that's because they're all failures. They came to market and then poof, they were gone. The Microsoft Lisa, that was actually the Apple Lisa. That was they had an Apple Lisa computer. But Microsoft did have something called Bob. I don't know if you ever heard of Microsoft Bob.
No.
It was just a complete failure. It was put out in 1995, and it was like this cartoonish thing that was supposed to make Windows easier to use, and it was just like a big old flop. So I'm sorry, Tammy, you did not.
So they were all failures then?
Yes, the Zune was a failure. Yes, the Kin. All right, maybe it was a trick question. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Let's give Tammy the official Kim Komando Show fanny pack. Yes. Yes. You got it. All right. I know you have a question for me, so how can I lend a hand?
Okay, so I do. I have an iPhone, and on my iPhone, I have probably thousands of videos and photos. And what I want to, and I'm sure that you've gone over this on one of your shows before, but I want to safely get those off my phone and put them on some type of hard drive or thumb drive that is portable, that I could just, put into my phone or put it. I don't know if you can. The only thing I have is an iPad. I don't know if maybe I need to get another computer, so what is the easiest way to do that and organize my videos as well?
So are you running out of space on your phone?
I'm not, but every month I keep on paying for more Google space.
Oh, for Google space?
Yeah, or iCloud.
So you're not
iCloud space.
Oh, you're using iCloud. Okay, you're using iCloud. Okay, so here's the thing, is that I never want you to put your precious memories and all the screenshots and all the pictures of your food and all the videos that you might have on your phone ever on a stick and think like, wow, that's really smart, and that's always going to be a safe thing to do.
Okay.
Because those little thumb drives, they don't last forever. And then the other problem is that, people lose them because they're so small. Or they put them in a desk and then they forget that's in the back of the desk. And so what you want to do is always keep your photos and videos in the cloud. And there are different places you can do it. You can put it on, a lot of people don't realize that, on Amazon, you can actually store your photos up there for free as part of your Prime account. And then there's, of course, iCloud, which is the easiest. I will tell you right off the bat, the couple of bucks that they charge a month is, for me, it's worth it because I know that they're always going to be accessible 24/7. And I don't have to worry about remembering to back it up because everything does get backed up. And it also gives you easier access because when your videos are in the cloud, especially when you start getting into the Apple ecosystem, Tammy, that when it's in the cloud, that everything's all synced up nicely. It's going to be synced up on your iPad. It's going to be synced up on your iPhone. And then you already mentioned that your Windows PC had taken a dump. And so you're probably going to need to replace that, right?
Well, yes. I don't know if I need to get another Windows or just get a Mac and just be done with it.
I would get a Mac.
But okay.
Get a Mac, be done with it. I mean, you used the words. Simply because now that you have everything all in that Apple ecosystem, it just truly, I'm telling you, it just truly makes a life a lot easier because you're not trying to sync things across different devices. So just go ahead and maybe delete some of the duplicates. So maybe your iCloud account isn't so big. Maybe there are some videos that are being stored that in your iCloud account, because those are going to take the most storage. That maybe you're like, I have 3 videos of the same thing, because there's so many people like you and me, Tammy, I'm guilty of it too, where when we start looking into our photo library, it really contains so many different duplicates. Now, the good news is that with the latest version of the iOS is that Apple actually has in the photo app a duplicate photo and video finder. And once you run that, I will tell you, and I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but I had almost 5,000 duplicate photos and videos. I mean, they may not have been exactly the same, but the algorithms say, yeah, this is probably, 10 pictures of an apple pie that you made. I mean, do you really need 10? You just need 1, which is really handy. So if you haven't yet run that tool, that's a good idea. And thanks for playing along with us on Trivia. And thanks for all your support in our podcasts and our videos and our newsletters and good stuff like that. And we certainly appreciate that because, hey, more the merrier. And thanks for being with us today, Tammy. If you haven't done this already, make sure that you are also checking to see which photos and videos are taking up the most space on your iPhone. It's under Settings, General, and iPhone Storage. And I'll tell you, you might be surprised how much space some of these videos are taking. You're like, I don't need that. Let's chuck it. And then you get that space back. And then you're not paying to have it backed up into the cloud. All right, in this week's Money Tip, it's a little bit different because what we're going to talk about is how you can make money from the stuff that you already have and you can rent it out. So like, for example, let's say that you have some tools, okay, and you don't use the tools every single day. And by the way, if you do go ahead and use this service, they have a protection plan that covers you up to damage up to $25,000. But what you do is you just make an account, you say what kind of tools that you can loan out, and then the site takes 25%, but you're making 75%, right? That's awesome. Let's say you have an RV. It's just sitting there on your driveway or in the back lot of your house. What you can do is put that RV on a site called Outdoorsy, and they pay you within 48 hours of booking when someone rents your RV. Anyway, they're going to take anywhere between 20 and 25%. What about a car sitting in your driveway? Turo, I've used that site myself. And how much you can make at Turo, they say anywhere between $3,000 and $75,000 a year, depending, of course, of what kind of car you have. And they also have insurance to protect you against damage. Of course, we all know that you can rent your home on Airbnb and Vrbo and these other sites. But here's the deal. Have you ever thought about renting a single room in your house? There's a site called PeerSpace, and that's where you can rent places like your kitchen or your backyard. It seems to have mostly influencers that are renting, and they say that they have millions of users. They take a 15% fee. A Gigster is also interesting if you have someplace that might be worthy of a movie production set or even just a commercial set. And finally, you can rent your swimming pool. What? Yes, Swimply. That's right. And that's where you just say, here's my pool, and you can rent it out during the day and maybe at night for parties or maybe no parties. Anyway, these are 5 different ways that you can make money with stuff that's just sitting around your house. And so in case you want links to all of this and much more, just hit our website. That's komando.com. And then there's a link that says Kim Show. All right, coming up, we have more of your phone calls as well as how to find these spy cams here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, Charles in Denver, Colorado. Glad to have you with us.
I saw your article about the compact portable computer that came out in the 80s. And I just said, hey, I've got one of those. I wonder if that thing's worth anywhere close to $8,000. Like you said. You know, of course, I know it's not, but just curiosity.
Yeah, that would be a great one, because I have one too. Remember that, the compact portable, right? It was released in, as you said, 1983. I remember that thing being really heavy. And I actually looked up to see what weight is. Yeah, it's 8.6 pounds, they said. I don't know, maybe because I was young and I remember carrying this thing around. The processor on the inside, an 8086 CPU running at 4.77, right?
Yep.
MS-DOS.
Yep.
The memory,
yep.
128K to 640K. Oh, gosh. Okay.
I know it.
Upgradable, right, to 1 meg. 8-inch monochrome CRT display, folks. If you're young and you don't know what that is, it was awful. It was the resolution was 720 by 300. The storage, okay, this is a big hard drive. You ready? 10 megabytes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's like
awesome.
I'll have a terabyte for $120, please. Yes.
Okay.
And then instead of USB ports, we had these really weird things. We had 2 serial ports. And that was on this box, and that was for you to connect your modem to. Do you remember what the sound was that the modem made, Charles? Do you remember that sound?
Oh, of course. I love that sound.
Okay, go ahead. Do the sound. Let me hear it.
Oh, I can't do sound. Anyway, you know, all those connections and all that weird stuff is pretty cool.
It was like ding dong. You know, one of those.
There you go.
And then, then it had a parallel port. That was for, do you remember?
Yes.
What was that for?
It was for the printer.
For your printer. That's right. You had a parallel port.
Yep.
Anyway, on eBay, they're going for about $300.
Okay. Well, this one still works, and what I did was I used it for, you know, we had a horseshoe league here in my little town I'm in, and so I wrote a program to keep track of the statistics and standings and handicaps and stuff, and so I would take it over to the bar, and we'd sit down and do the horseshoes, and I'd update it, and everybody thought that was just awesome, you know, pretty cool and stuff.
They were looking at you like, yeah, Charles, he's got it going on. He knows exactly what it is.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Well, and so
anyway, it was still here.
So you have about $300 sitting there with that old compact computer. You know, maybe someday it's going to be worth $8,000. Maybe someday if you just keep holding on to it, who knows? But yeah, those were I don't want to say the good old days. Today, technology is so much better. Charles, thank you for your call and for that special sound effect. That was awesome. You know, some old tech can be worth big bucks. I'm talking about early Apple computers, the Apple I, the Apple II, some classic IBM PCs. Maybe you have some rare NES video games. You know, vintage audio equipment is also worth it. I'm talking about stuff from the 70s from Marantz and Pioneer or JBL. The Motorola Dynatac, that could be worth some money. And also vintage cameras. You have those laying around from Hasselblad or Leica. Anyway, to learn more, we always have these links, too, for you over at Komando.com. Some vintage stuff that might be worth some big bucks. Cameras can be so small they can hide just about anywhere. I'm talking about electrical outlets and smoke detectors and even TV remotes. So what do? You open your phone's camera, you turn off all the lights, you walk around. If you see any white flashes, that's a red flag. But if things aren't really quite right, and if you travel around a lot, I suggest that you invest in an RF detector. I like the anti-spy detector on Amazon. It sells for around $40. It picks up radio frequency signals from devices like wireless cams, audio listening devices. And one thing, though, you have to turn off all of your electronic devices first. And if you ever see a camera hidden place, just make sure that you call the police, because that could be an invasion of your privacy. Hey, if you learned at least one thing, make sure that you tell 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show, and you can find me 24/7 at the website, KOMANDO.com.
It's the Kim Komando Show podcast for the weekend of February 4th, 2023. And here is our 3.
As you know, I always like to start with something fun and interesting. Have you ever played the game Tetris? You know, it's that classic puzzle game where you manipulate these falling blocks to form complete lines. Well, now there's a new movie coming out from Apple about Tetris. That's right. And they say it's based on the true story of an American video game salesman, Hank Rogers, and his discovery of Tetris back in 1988. And when he sets out to bring the game to the world, he enters a dangerous web of lies and corruption behind the Iron Curtain. They say it's a thriller. Whoever thought Tetris would be a thriller? You know, and it took them a long time to get the Tetris movie done. Why? Because it was all in the script. Every time they would write a line, it would disappear. Okay, that's Tetris humor. If you don't play Tetris, you don't get it. I'm sorry. Hey, listen, I'm Kim Komando, America's digital goddess, here with you, and you've tapped into our award-winning show about all things digital. And you're about to get more tech smarts because, as I like to say, every single thing is a tech thing. You can find us on over 425 top radio stations from coast to coast, and we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando. And you can find us as a podcast, as a webcast, 24/7 commercial-free over at getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. And we're also heard on the American Forces Network Radio. And thanks to all of our servicemen and women in the Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, Coast Guard, and Space Force who are protecting our great nation as I speak. And I'm sure you have at least a few questions about something digital I can lend a hand to. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And I'd also like to thank Epson, because you ever scream at your printer or hurl empty ink cartridges across the room? Oh, it's so frustrating. The Epson EcoTank printer is the perfect cure. So you can kiss those expensive cartridges goodbye. Just fill and chill. Available at participating retailers and at epson.com/EcoTankKim. All right, every single day I go to so many different websites and I read everything I can to make sure that you and I are both up to date on all things digital. And this is part of the show where I like to talk about numbers. When you see the numbers in the headlines, what do they really mean? So the first number we're going to talk about is 10. 10 drone deliveries and 10 years ago. That's when Jeff Bezos made a big promise, by the way. He pledged to fill the air with this army of Amazon delivery drones. Well, what happened, right? Well, after Amazon Prime Air's launch December in California and Texas, it only delivered to 10 households. And then they laid off half the employees that work at those locations. Problem in River City. So let's be real. What's going on? Well, the FAA's guidelines. Here's a list of some of them. Number 1, you're not allowed to fly the drone over people. That's a tough one. Okay. Number 2, you cannot fly over any schools during times of operation. Okay, we can get around that. Number 3, you can't fly over 250 feet over these moving vehicles. Okay, so basically, they can't cross the street. So that puts a whole damper on the whole idea of these drone delivery services. I mean, and I know what you're thinking, Amazon packages in the sky, these drone deliveries. It's like skeet shooting for prizes, right? No. Hey, listen, if you are wondering about drone surveillance, just as a whole total side note, is that my USA Today column this week is all about how to avoid drone surveillance. You can read it on the website this week at komando.com. And then you want to hit how to in columns or just search for drone surveillance. And then it appears on all the other websites in a week from now. All right, number 2, $20,000 a month. What's going on there? So all these big tech companies are firing. I'm talking about like Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and they have laid off some 75,000 folks since the beginning of the year. Wow, 75,000 people. So what's happening on the dark web is that now there are all these job openings trying to get these people who have worked for legitimate companies to go work for illegitimate companies on the dark web. Digital privacy company Kaspersky, they say that job postings from hacker groups and dark web employers are paying really well, and they are really in demand. So the highest paying job on the dark web offered over $20,000 a month. Wow. The most popular job posting on the dark web, developers. 61% of the job postings were towards them. The median pay for IT professionals was about anywhere from $1,300 to maybe $4,000 a month. But there is a dark side. This is, of course, the dark web, and they are looking for people to do malicious things, i.e. hacking teams looking to create and spread malware. So you probably don't want to get a job on the dark web. I once hired a guy to teach me all about the dark web. He was just my Tor mentor. Get it? Tor, T-O-R, mentor. Oh, okay. The Onion. All right, forget it. Number 3, 40% of online daters are looking for the special one. That's right. A recent study found that 1 in 5 people run at least one before every meeting. I'm talking about a background check. Now, even though the internet world is totally scary, you can't be afraid. 1 in 4 people are actually meeting their spouses online now. That's right. So what are some dating tips? You want to keep sensitive information out of your profile and especially out of your photos. So look deep into your photos. If there's any info that someone can glean from them, just want you to take it out. Instead, write about all your great hobbies, your interests, your goals. And nobody wants anybody who's a Debbie Downer, so do not be negative. Also, check out your match photos, see if there's any strange thing about them. Now, if suddenly that match looks like, the guy on the cover of GQ magazine or the woman on the cover of Cosmopolitan or Vogue, and you're sitting there and, I'm talking about maybe Texas or Alabama, and you're like, wow, look at this person. I think this is the one because they're so stunning. Before you fall for it and they start asking you for money, head over to images.google.com and upload their images to see if there's any place else that those images might appear. Number 4 on our list of 5 things is $80,000. That's right. The U.S. Treasury just announced that the definition of an SUV is about to change. Now, why is this important? This makes more electric cars from the likes of Tesla, GM, and all the others eligible for those huge $7,500 tax credits. Now, the price cap for the credit previously is set at $55,000. Well, now it's $80,000 for SUVs. So now we have electric cars like the Tesla Model Y, the Ford Mustang Mach-E. They weren't called SUVs because they didn't weigh enough, and they were also priced, over $55,000. So here's what's going on, is that when you are now buying an electric car, you may be able to get more of those tax credits. Oh, by the way, Ford just cut prices of its new Mustang Mach-E by as much as $6,000. Tesla just dropped their prices by $6,000 or sometimes nearly 20%. And Chevy is about to introduce another fully electric car. Now, a lot of people think this is so great, but other people are like, that's just so revolting. Get it? The Chevy revolting. Okay. Finally, this coming in at number 5, $7 a month to take a nap. Ooh, what's going on? Now you don't have to pay attention to your next video meeting because Microsoft is about ready to plop ChatGPT into its team meetings video service. Now, for only $7 a month, it can do tasks in an instant that employees are paid to do. Now, some of the new features include the ChatGPT AI is going to take notes and bullet takeaways during the meetings. That's normally done by project managers or maybe an assistant. It's then going to automatically translate that meeting into different languages. Now, this is really interesting to me. The most fascinating part of this is that it's going to have something called an intelligent recap feature that generates task lists and highlights for specific workers, things that they need to do, even though they aren't there. Yep, AI is coming in everywhere. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about how you can quickly find and search for any photos that you've sent or received on instant messaging. Talk about what to look for in a security cam and what to avoid, and how you can get some free stuff online. Of course, we have all of your phone calls, and you have me, Kim Komando. Hey, if you're not already following us on social media, be sure to do that. We're everywhere at Kim Komando, twitter.com/Kim Komando, Instagram.com/Kim Komando, and Facebook.com/Kim Komando. All right, let's start with Rose in Pueblo, Colorado. Hello there, Rose.
Thank you so much for all the information that you give in your newsletter. I learn so much every single time I read your newsletter. So I just wanted to
thank you, Rose. That's very nice of you to say.
Well, thank you for being so smart. My question today is, I read one of your newsletters that had Opt-Out Tuesday in it. And so I've been really trying to do that, opt out Tuesday and get rid of my information all over the net, And so there was this one website called PQ.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And amongst others. And, I followed your instructions and did, what you said, step by step. And then it asked me to put in my email address. And so I thought, well, I don't want to put my email address in because then the whole thing will start over again, probably. So I hide my email address on my iPhone.
Sure.
And so then I'm thinking, after I did that, well, was that not smart? Because I'm trying to get rid of the information about my original email, so I should have probably put my original email in instead of hide my email.
Well, you know what? If they were asking for an email that is your primary email address when you opt out, okay, or maybe they will show you an email address and you have to check that in order to get yourself out of this database. That's where you want to use your real email address, even though it's like, oh my gosh, I'm giving it to somebody who's selling all my data. The Hide My Email, what it does is it just comes up with a randomized email address that says @iCloud.com. And any of the email that you put in this fictitious email address from, and I should actually let me back up so everybody knows what we're talking about, okay, Rose? Is that with the latest iOS version on Apple, is that they have something called Hide My Email. So whenever a prompt comes up to enter an email address, you can have Apple generate a random fake email address for you, and they call this feature Hide My Email. But Hide My Email, if somebody actually emails that, it's not like it goes into this bin of Nowheresville. The Hide My Email address actually gets forwarded to your real email address, okay? So if they needed to get in touch with you, you would still get that email, but it would come from that fictitious address. So when you do the Opt-out Tuesday, if they are asking like what email address is tied to this account, or you can see that it's your real email address, unfortunately, you're going to have to use your real email address for that. By the way, if you're not on Apple, you can get a similar feature by just using with Gmail, for example. It'd be like, say, Kim Komando plus pq@gmail.com. Anything after the plus at Gmail, and that's not my real email address, by the way, is actually ignored by Gmail. And the Hide My Email address is really fascinating. And I'm so glad that, Rose, that you are loving our newsletters and loving Opt-out Tuesday, because we've been doing so much work with this. And if you're unfamiliar with the program that we have going on the website, Opt-out Tuesday is just that. Every single Tuesday, there is a website where we are going to tell you exactly where you can remove your personal information from all these people search sites and all the other sites that are collecting details about all of us. And it's been interesting because I think these people search sites are getting wind because the links that we've been providing in order to opt out of the databases suddenly have gone poof. They don't work anymore. So we are in the process of finding all the steps that you need to take to opt out of these databases in the past. And of course, the new ones, we always make sure it's correct going forward. So every single Tuesday is Opt-out Tuesday on Komando.com. Once again, that's Komando.com. Hey, Rose, thanks for your kind words. And thanks for being a listener and viewer and newsletter subscriber. You're awesome. And if you need any other help, I'm always here for you. You know, it's just a smart idea to use Hide My Email. Use that address whenever you sign up for subscriptions, promotions, so this way you can keep your real email address free from all that unwanted spam. Yuck. All right, Tina in Auburn, Kansas, you're up next.
Yes, I've been shopping for quite some time for a device that would make my cat's life better when he's being boarded. Okay. I'd like it to play music. It could be also include the radio because we have some good music channels here, a local radio channel, and plays lots of classical and jazz. But anyway, I would need it to have a timer on it, so it'd switch on and off. And I prefer it to be wired, not wireless.
Sure. What's really great is that because of technology, that there are so many different and unique products right out now, Tina. And the one that you're looking for, and we're going to send you a link to it, it's for sale on Amazon. There's something called the Cat Soothe Pro. All right? Just think about this, the Cat Soothe Pro. This is a radio station just for cats. Okay, and the music is selected just for cats. And it's scientists who have studied this. They said, yeah, this is really great music for cats. It does have a timer function turned on and off. It plays, they say, calming music for cats to reduce their stress, promote relaxation. And it's not very big, and it is wired. and it's like $70. And so if you're trying to make sure that when your cat's boarded, that he's all calm and relaxed, and then just pick up this Pet Acoustics and have them put it in wherever he's staying. And by the way, in case you have a dog, guess what? They have a dog acoustics, and guess what? If you have a bird, they even have bird acoustics. And when you look at the reviews, people say, yeah, this really, truly works. Again, it's called Pet Acoustics is the manufacturer. And again, the product line is they have cats, birds, and dogs. And it's about $70 for one of those speakers. And Tina, thank you so much for your call. Isn't tech so sweet, especially for our fur babies? All right, let's talk about the easy way to get slides and negatives right into your photo library. Now, if you're over 25 years old, there are probably slides or 35 millimeter negatives of you somewhere. And that's about how long it's been since digital photography just totally took over. Now, the easiest way to scan these slides and 35 millimeter negatives is to use your phone and an inexpensive kit that you can buy or make. Now, Kodak has something called the Mobile Film Scanner. It's a small box that you just put together. You put your phone on the top, and then the slides or negatives, they go right inside. It has a built-in battery-powered LED backlight, so it illuminates all your old films and slides, and then you can just put them in the free Kodak app. It's about $35. Now, if you want to save some money, you can go ahead and make your own film and slide kit. There are a ton of tutorials on YouTube. Just search for DIY film scanner. Doesn't it always amaze you, though? I just was thinking about this with Kodak. They totally should have owned the entire digital film marketplace. They just blew it. Hey, stay right where you are. We're going to talk about security cameras, the good, the bad, and the ugly, here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, coming up in just a few minutes, how to quickly find and search for photos that you've got in your text messaging. It's like, I know that person sent me a photo. I just can't find it. Not anymore. I'm going to tell you how to do that in a split second. And then later on, how you can get really good free stuff on the internet and on Facebook and all these other different groups. And right now, joining us is our amazing content queen from Komando.com, Ali Seligman. Hello there, Ali.
Hi, Kim.
So we're going to talk about security cameras today, the ones that everybody should have. How many security cameras do you have in your house?
I only have 2. I have back porch, front porch, and good segue, Kim, because they are Arlo cameras. And they're older Arlo cameras, and if you have Arlos and haven't heard the news, well, they just changed their end-of-life policy. Anything that's older than 4 years is losing a lot of functionality. You're not going to be able to upload anything to the cloud, no push notifications, no email alerts. So basically everything that makes it worth having one, it's just not. But I think we need to explain what exactly end of life means. I mean, we all know what end of life means for us. Dum dum, all that music. Okay, so tech comes with built-in obsolescence, right? Indeed, yes.
You buy something, it's not going to last forever.
It's
like
not.
The iPhone 4 that exploded on the kitchen counter, and you can see the video on my Instagram account. Should not be in existence anymore. So, and we have Chromebooks, right? They have an end of life.
Yeah.
And
sometimes these things, you can do a little research ahead of time, like with a Chromebook, and say, "Ooh, I shouldn't buy that one because as of 2024, I'm not going to be able to use it or update it anymore." With security cameras, this is especially important, right? Because they're not going to get things like security updates, firmware updates anymore. And especially when it's something that your private footage, when it comes to your security, you don't want to mess with that. If you're using, I don't know, there are certain things, right, that if it's not going to get the latest update, I guess you'll be okay. Security cams?
You're like, whatever. No.
Don't do it.
You need to make sure that you do that. And especially like if they are just keeping the videos out there for anybody to see. That was also big news this past week,
Oh, it
right?
sure was. Eufy, which is a brand, we probably all know the name Anker, really popular tech brand.
Yes.
They're affordable, but still good quality stuff. Eufy is one of their lines. They make security cameras. And security researchers found out they were not encrypting the footage. And so say I somehow got the link to your footage, Kim, I could just watch it. I could watch whatever I wanted. They're working on it. It's not all the way fixed yet, but I imagine it's code red over there at Anker.
I would hope so. It seems like, security camera footage anybody can see. It's like going to that website Shodan, Shodan, where you can see like anything that's not encrypted, whether it's like, I remember one time I was over there and I remember I actually saw security cameras like at a nuclear power plant. I'm like, okay, somebody needs to fix this. Okay.
that is actually the biggest thing, right? If we are talking about what should you look for in a security camera? So maybe you're like me, you have those Arlo cams. Now they are basically as good as paperweights. What should you look for if you're going to buy new ones? Security is super important. You want to make sure that it is encrypted. You want to make sure the login, the portal, whatever you use, is safe. Look for things like it requires, or, maybe just offers 2FA. So you don't want something where it's like, yeah, sign into this random website and see your stuff. That's, no, you don't want that. That is the first place to start. One thing that I think you should look for, audio recording. This is, in some cases, as important as getting the video footage, right? We actually talked about this on Kim Komando Today, the Friday edition this week. A crazy case. A murderer was found using just the audio.
Yeah, it's a crazy story.
It really is.
It wasn't just the security video footage.
Nope.
It was actually the audio recording that helped catch a murder. So this is the Friday edition of our Kim Komando Today podcast. So wherever you get your podcast, you don't want to miss the Friday edition. It's different than Monday through Friday because on Friday, we're getting ready for the weekend and Allie and Matt come on board. And Matt told this story. It was like so incredibly fascinating.
Yeah, it's a really
I like
good
the
story.
audio recording.
Yeah.
It is. I think that's a great feature.
Something that, if you're one of those people, if you're going to put cams inside your house, you might be a little creeped out by the idea of, is this going to record me constantly while I'm in my house? Do I want that? A lot of people don't. That's why I think you should get a camera that has a shutter on it. And so you can usually set these so there's a home mode where if you're home walking around your house, it's not recording you, it's not filming you. And if you're not home, that little shutter comes up and it records anything that's happening. I think that's a nice feature, especially for the privacy concerned among us. If you don't want, you walking around in your underwear, going up to your security camera.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really needs to see that. I don't think that's a good idea.
No.
And just on a side note, our sponsor, Simply Safe, their cameras have the shutters built in, which I really think is super important. Now, the other thing that comes into play when we're talking about security cameras is that you get a certain amount of days for free, and then it's like, okay, Kim Komando, you need to pay up if you want to have you want to go more than 7.5 days.
Yes.
And sometimes that history is super important. Like right now I have a house for sale and I want to be able to put cameras on the inside and so I can see what's going on. And which is, by the way, so fascinating because you hear people say, wow, this bedroom's great. Anyway, as people are looking at the house. But that history is super important.
So for you, for that kind of instance, you might want longer history, right? Because you're not there all the time. You're not living in the house. That one really depends on what your situation is. I would say at a bare minimum, you want 7 days so you can go back a week. But yeah, you might want to look for 30 days or even longer. And that is another good tip when we're talking about price, because it might not just be the price of the camera. It might also be if you have to get cloud storage or an upgrade to actually be able to watch the footage later. Because sometimes it is just, you can see it for 24 hours, then you're out of luck. And that's not very useful for most people.
Well, I think 7 days is probably enough for most people, that the free period, because if something's going to happen, if you're at home, you're going to see it happen within the first 7 days. So you're not like you're going to have to do that. Now, the quality of the video, super important, right, Al?
Absolutely. We have all seen grainy footage on, whether it's on TV or our own security cameras, and you're like, wait, what? Is that an animal? Is that a person? I don't know. Who is that? Is that my husband? So that is definitely an important one. I would say get HD cameras. You want as high quality footage as you can get. Most of the, video doorbells in those, they are HD. Look for that in your regular home security cameras too. Because what good is it if you can't actually tell what's happening in the video? It's no good.
It isn't any good. Now, one of the things that I put up at Ian's house is those, instead of just having motion activated lights, is that now there's motion activated cameras.
Oh, nice.
Which with a light, which I think is just so smart. And that's the thing. A lot of people think, well, I'm going to, like you said, I'm going to put one on my front porch, on my back porch, whatever it may be. Is that, you can put these in different areas, and especially now these cameras over time, they've become much more durable so they can go outdoors.
Yeah, a lot of them can survive lots of elements, or if you can tuck them under an awning or, a little bit of the roof, whatever it is. But yeah, some of them are fine just being kind of out there, especially the kind that are on things like lights, because they're meant to just be out in the elements, and so they will last.
So what type of prices do you think if somebody was trying to buy a security camera? I mean, obviously, you want to stay away from the ones that are like the name you never heard of that's $35?
In general, yes. I would say if you're finding a security camera on Amazon or wherever else and it's $20, close the tab, do some soul searching. No, you shouldn't take chances on things that are that cheap when it is recording such sensitive information. I'd say the $50 range, you're going to be totally fine. A few brands, you don't have to get the absolute top of the line. Certainly there are a lot of advantages, especially if you want to have a whole home security system, right? You mentioned SimpliSafe. Yeah, that's killer if you want to have a great security system for your whole house. If you're just going to have a camera or two and that's all you're really concerned about, you can go a little cheaper and that's okay. Casa is a good brand, TP-Link, Wyze cameras, that you probably heard that name. Those are okay. Just make sure that you're not using, if you have one of these, get rid of it. Their first generation cameras are hackable and there's no fix, so get rid of those. Luckily, they've wised up and the rest of their cameras are good, totally secure.
That was a good one, Allie.
Thank you.
You know, speaking of security cameras, I was over at a friend's house and I was actually helping her dad set up his Apple Watch, and he's 85 years old. And he's just so cute. He's so wonderful. And he told me this story. So, you know, back in the day, Kim, you could walk into a grocery store with $2 and you could leave with a full shopping cart. But nowadays you can't do that anymore because they have security cameras everywhere. I was like, oh, I got that. That was funny. I like that. So that goes to Tom here in Santa Barbara. That was your joke. Allie, great job as always. And I'm sure we have all the details over on the website, right?
You know we do.
Okay. Thank you, Allie, for being here. All right. So you have just a slew of text messages and you know that person sent you a photo and you're like, I don't know where that photo is. Okay. Here's the deal. A lot of people don't know this trick, is that on your iPhone, you can open messages. You can tap on a conversation, group, contact name, profile photo. And then if you scroll down, there's a photo section. Yes, and that's where you can see all the photos that were shared with you and also your videos. If you're on Android, works the same way. Just go into your messages and then tap the search bar at the top. And if you need the exact steps, hit komando.com and just search for how to quickly find and search photos that you've sent or received on your phone. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls as well as you can get free stuff on the internet. I'm talking about great free stuff, so stay right with us here on the Kim Komando Show. Hey, just a quick reminder that if you're not already getting our newsletters, head over to komando.com/subscribe today. That's komando.com/subscribe for our free newsletter. You can join over 400,000 people that get it every single day. All right, Tom in Columbia, Missouri. Hi there, Tom.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for coming to the gym with me every Saturday and helping me get through an hour and a half workout. I really appreciate it.
Well, let me tell you, the last time I saw you in the gym, you are looking hot. You are buff. Ugh, Tom, you're looking
Not
great.
Not bad for a 70-year-old guy.
I know. You're looking great. You're looking great.
Thank you. All the old ladies love to talk to me. I'm in Columbia, Missouri, and I've been a filmmaker since 1990. I actually started on the old Amiga computer with the video toaster, if you ever heard of it. It was really one of the first computers to have a video chip in it that would let you manipulate video. Anyway, through the years, I've produced on film and video. And about 10 years ago, we got into doing more social media stuff because it's where things were going. This fall, I was awarded a contract from the county to produce advertising to get more 911 dispatchers in the county. We have a beautiful state-of-the-art communication center, have money for about 60 employees to be 911 dispatchers, and they can't get over 30. It's been incredible. And the pay's good. So anyway, I produce a video a week, usually around a minute, and what I call a video billboard, something funny or humorous or informative that lets us advertise on mostly Facebook sites that promote the job and promote people to apply for the job. Mm-hmm. So I started accumulating places, Facebook places that would let me post on their site. Mid-Missouri jobs, Boone County jobs, community helping things. And so I've got a list of all of these places. I've made about 25 or 30 right now. But every time I do a post, I don't want to be a spam operator, so I have to go in and insert the website and and copy it into every Facebook site. Is there a way I can get all of these pieces together and hit one button and say, send to all these Facebook sites?
Poof, it's done, right? You don't have to go from place to place. All right. So, are you also posting any of these videos up on Instagram or on the county websites or on Twitter, maybe LinkedIn? Because if you're just hitting Facebook, you have other opportunities too.
Yes.
And I just want to make you aware of that. So because the more people that can see this video, the better off that you are. Now, the good news is that you don't have to sit there and say, go from site to site, post to post, group to group, anything that may be, is that you can post all at once, like you mentioned, just hit a button, and then it will post across all your social media platforms across the board. And so the names of the company, there's two. One's called Hootsuite, and the other one's called Buffer. Hootsuite is really made for big companies, which you're not quite there yet, and maybe you don't even want to be there. But if you're managing all these different accounts for different clients, it's got a lot of different tools. Now, with Buffer, and that's a tool that we use, by the way, here at the Kim Komando Show, is that it's good for a small team or a small business owner. And if you're just getting started, it's really simple to use. So you're going to make your post, and then you say where you type in whatever copy that you want with the hashtags, and then you give the address where it needs to be posted. And then lo and behold, yes, the heavens will open up, and then it can be posted on a schedule overnight, whatever it may be. And it really does work great. I will give you one warning, especially with video, is that I want you to double check the posts wherever they're supposed to be landing at that particular time, because I've noticed that sometimes Buffer will kind of glitch out on videos. And so you can learn more about it at buffer.com. And as far as costs, it's about $15 a month if you do need to pay for some of the features. Otherwise, it's free. You just have a limited feature. So try with the free account. And then if you find that you need some extra analytics, or you want to be able to reply directly to people right inside that particular app, you can do it within Buffer. So again, that's buffer.com. But I think you're really going to love it, Tom. And keep up the great work at the gym every single Saturday. Remember, I'm there with you, rooting you on. You know, a lot of people ask me this question: what is the best time to post on Facebook? Well, they're saying it's Wednesday through Friday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. is the best time on Facebook. On Twitter, Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. to 3 p.m. and 5 to 6 p.m. And on Instagram, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And in case you're interested, LinkedIn, it's actually Tuesday and Thursdays from 7 to 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. If you like free stuff, you're going to love the Buy Nothing Project groups on Facebook, Nextdoor, or the official app. And everything is free. So basically, you can download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store, or just search Facebook using the phrase Buy Nothing and then the name of your town. You can also find similar posts over at Nextdoor. But just remember your safety always. Since the free stuff is usually at someone's house, don't go there to pick it up alone. Promise me. Always bring a friend with you. And once again, it's the Buy Nothing Project app. And you can find it in the Apple's App Store or the Google Play Store, or on Facebook. Just search using the phrase Buy Nothing and the name of your town. Hey, if you learned just a few things, make sure that you tell 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show, because after all, knowledge is power. If you need any more information about anything that we talked about, just hit the website. That's KOMANDO.com.